Have you ever wondered if doing a Disney split stay is worth it? You know, like
spending half of your trip at one resort and then switching halfway through to another resort?
Well, I have done this multiple times, and I mean multiple times in the last couple years. And today I'm going to show you the pros and cons of what entails during a split stay so you can decide if it's worth it for you and your family and your next Disney vacation. Before we dive in, if you love Disney trips, vlogs, and trip planning, make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. So what exactly is a split stay? So a Disney split stay is when you are booking two different resorts during your same vacation. So let's say you're staying 7 days. You would stay maybe the first 3 or 4 days, or even maybe the first day at, let's say, a value resort, and then you could switch over to a moderate or a deluxe, or perhaps even another value resort for the duration of the end of your trip. And Disney will go ahead and do this for you. It's free. It does not cost any additional money. They will actually go ahead and transfer your luggage for you between the resorts. So as long as you get it down to bell services first thing in the morning, you could have it pretty much in the afternoon. I think we've only had issues during one of our trips where our luggage did not show up until like 4 or 5, but generally my luggage has always been there around like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is great, and it's free. And this way you don't have to waste your park day. You could get right to the next park if you want to, or you could head on over, maybe take a minivan or something, and then go check out the pool festivities and just not have to worry about the hustle and bustle of taking all the luggage with you on Disney transportation. Let's get into the pros of why you would want to consider doing a split stay over at Disney. So one of the biggest one, obviously, is so that you're able to experience different vibes, different price points, different resorts all in one. It's kind of like you're almost on 2 vacations in one. I started doing this because I wanted to check out multiple resorts that I have never stayed at before, and so I started booking other resorts, and then maybe I think our biggest one we did was maybe like 5 resorts last winter, which was kind of crazy, and I don't recommend this for everybody, but it did give me a chance to experience a little bit of different resorts so that I know where I want to spend my money when I come back. I would not recommend that for that many resorts during your one vacation, because you're not going to feel like you're on vacation. But if you're a seasoned traveler and you've been to Disney multiple times, you might want to consider it. Maybe not the 5 resort stay, but maybe like at least 2. So planning your resort around your park days can make all the difference. This is definitely a tip that I like to do, especially because a lot of times you'll find me at Disney just with my 3-year-old toddler in tow. My husband joins us maybe once a year, maybe a little bit less. So generally I'm always by myself with her, so I try to make life as easy as possible. Disney transportation, while it is convenient, the buses aren't always like I don't want to call myself a single mom, but you know, like a solo mom friendly at the end of the nights coming back from like places like Magic Kingdom, for example. Everybody's tired, everybody's crabby, and nobody wants to give up their seat. So it's very hard, and sometimes you have to wait a long time, because if you do want a seat, you're gonna have to wait longer for the next bus to come, or you just have to deal with it. And I have had to carry my toddler sleeping passed out on my shoulder, hold on on the bus, and hold on to my stroller all in one, because I was not offered a seat. Not like everyone has to, because I completely don't blame them, but that would be one of the cons of doing a value resort for me, which we could get into in another video. But so generally what I like to do with the split stays is I like to say, like during my Epcot days, I want to maybe schedule in one of those Skyliner resorts if I'm looking for like a budget or moderate price, or if I'm looking for a little bit of a splurge, I'm going to want to maybe stay at one of those boardwalk resorts such as Beach Club, Boardwalk, or Yacht Club. I have stayed at all 3, and they're within walking distance, perfect to get in and out of Epcot easily. Also Hollywood Studios is right there, so generally if I try to coordinate my Epcot and my Hollywood Studio Days around those kind of resorts, or taking the Skyliner access, because again, it is free and it's convenient. I have a single stroller. If you have a double, it becomes a little bit more tricky. If you have the side by side, it will not fit through the doors. But if you have a single stroller, I have a Upa Baby Vista stroller, I'm allowed, even if my daughter is passed out sleeping at the end of the night, I can roll right on the Skyliner. She doesn't wake up, and happy child, happy mom. Is that how that goes? Yeah, so that's one of the reasons I like to do that. Now, on the flip side, if I'm at Magic Kingdom, then I also would like to stay up somewhere like Wilderness Lodge. Unfortunately, all the value resorts, there is no Skyliner access over there. There is the monorail, but that's going to get you at most of your deluxe resorts, which cost a pretty penny. So you can stay at like Wilderness Lodge, you can stay at obviously the Contemporary, the Grand Floridian, and the Polynesian. So those are going to be your best places to stay, but also one of the most expensive because of obviously location, and everyone wants to have that iconic Disney castle moment. I have stayed at, I think, all of those now. It's just a matter of priority. If you know, you have room in your budget, then you might want to think about it. Otherwise, it's completely fine to do a value resort. Kind of getting into the whole pricing situation, this is another big reason why I tend to do split stays, because I am a caviar girl on a hot dog budget. So generally what I do is I will stay at a cheaper resort for maybe all of the days except for one of the days, or maybe I'm staying just at one of the days at the value resort and then migrating over to the deluxe. It's kind of the perfect end to your vacation, moving on up to the deluxe hotel at the end of your trip, because the pools are going to be great, they have great restaurants, and again, the proximity to all the parks. The only one I wish to say is Animal Kingdom. Obviously, if you stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge, which we've also stayed at 2 or 3 times now, you can there again, you're dealing with the bus, but it is a shorter ride because you are right in that park proximity. But that's the only park that you're really not going to get an added bonus of having a walking distance to the park, or taking something easy like the Skyliner or monorail or the boat. Right, so now let's talk about the downside, the cons of staying at a Disney resort, and maybe why you might want to reconsider doing it. So it does take a considerable amount of time away from your trip, where unless you're a morning person and you can get in and out of the hotel room quickly, you're going to be dealing with packing up your luggage, bringing it down. You're going to be standing in line at bell services if you are going to be using them to switch your luggage between resorts. Now, one way to kind of avoid this is if by splurging a little bit and taking a minivan, which generally costs with a tip like about 40 to 50 bucks, kind of a lot, but if you have kids, you could easily, they're perfect, they're great, safe, reliable transportation. They have entertainment in the car, like they're always playing like little cartoons and stuff. They have car seats, you don't have to worry about that. Now, if you're dealing with older kiddos, or maybe this is an adult-only trip and you don't have to worry about having a car seat, then you might want to just consider taking an Uber, because it's so much cheaper between resorts, maybe like $10 to $15, depending on where you're going within the Disney bubble. But generally, yeah, it does take a lot of time for me, especially because I am by myself with a toddler. I might be putting my makeup on in another room, and then I come into the room and find out that she started to unpack everything that I just spent all morning packing up, and she's looking for stuff, and that kind of is what tends to slow me down. Also, like, you kind of are missing your home base per se, like just leaving and unpacking everything. I do love to put all of our clothes in packing cubes, and when we get into the resort, I love putting them in the drawers and kind of like moving in for the week. Now, if you're staying in a split stay, it kind of gets harder to do that, because unless you're like on the last half of your trip or whatever, but it's just more things for you to pack up and more time, and it's kind of just a nice thing to get back to your room that you've already been familiar with. You have your laundry basket there, take your clothes off after the end of the day, get in the shower, go to bed. Whereas if you're doing a split stay and you got to leave in the morning, then you kind of have to start packing up at night. or if you're just arriving at the night after you've been at the park all day, then you got to try to find things and where's the pajamas and everything. So a way to alleviate that is, because we are seasoned Disney travelers, I tend to utilize those packing cubes or Ziploc bags with everything labeled, and I know exactly where everything is, and I try to keep the things I'm going to need right on top of my luggage, so that way I'm not taking everything out of my luggage and I'm just taking what I think we'll need for tonight or for the next morning. Also, if let's say you plan to utilize the pool right away, and a lot of times people do the split stays where you're doing it off, what's called an off day. So maybe a lot of people choose to switch resort when they don't have a Disney park reservation for that day. Even though checkout is at 11 at your current resort, sometimes you're not going to be able to get into your room at the other resort until 4 or 5. So you'll run into this a lot with the DVCs. A lot of times your resort will not be ready before 3 o'clock. We've had to wait, like at the Polynesian, I think we were waiting until almost 6 o'clock. You could always check and get to the resort early, and you're welcome to use the pool or like the laundry room or any of the other amenities. Still beneficial for you to get on over to the new resort, because especially if it's deluxe, you're going to want to make sure that you get all your use of all the great amenities of staying there, between the great pools, splash pads, restaurants, or if you even decide to go to Magic Kingdom at night and you want to walk over there and everything, it's just nice having all that there. So you are definitely going to want to get on over there sooner than later. That would be a tip. But yeah, keep in mind that not always will your room be ready. Now, would I say most of the time my room is ready? Yes. I generally have always been able to get into my room by 11 or 12, maybe 1 o'clock, but there have been times that we have had to wait until like 4, 5, 6 o'clock. But I think that's generally been the latest, especially if you get to the hotel early enough and you tell them you're waiting, they're going to try to prioritize you. Now, one thing you have to be careful is, though, last year we stayed at the Caribbean beach, and I had paid for like a water view room or something, and because we were there early, they tried to prioritize and get us in sooner. So when I finally got my room assignment, I went down there and I'm like, wait a minute, this is like a parking lot view, and this is not what we paid for. And not to be that person, but of course, if you're paying money for this, you're gonna want to get what you paid for, right? So I had to go all the way back down with the stroller and all that, and go talk to someone at the lobby and try to get us in an earlier room, which caused more waiting and whatever. But generally it's not such a big of a deal, and if you can entertain your kids at the pool and everything, it's fine. The next con of possibly staying at a Disney resort is the trickiness of restaurant dining reservations. So if you are familiar with Disney, you'll know that if you're staying on Disney property, 60 days before your trip, your dining reservations and other reservations such as like Bippity Boppity Boutique will open up 60 days before your trip. Now, if you're doing a split stay, they're unfortunately not going to count the second half of your trip into that and factor it in. They're only going to show because it's based off of your confirmation number, and when you do a split stay, you're going to have 2 different confirmation numbers. So the first half of your booking, it's only going to let you book for your arrival day, however days you stay, and then your day you leave. It is not going to go as far as to do the rest of your stays. So just keep that in mind, that you're not going to be able to book that out and have that advantage of, let's say you're staying in one swoop of 7 days, 8 days. It's going to allow you to book, if you're not doing a split stay, it's going to allow you to book reservations for that whole week. But now if you've divided that into 2 different bookings, you're only going to be able to do the first half, and then you're going to have to wake up at 6 the following couple days after, when that 60 days opens, to do the rest of your reservations. So tips for making a split stay work. All these I kind of briefly went into in today's video. So you're going to want to make sure that you plan your resort days around your park days. That's going to be one of the biggest helps in doing a split stay. make sure you pack a transfer day bag. So this could be something that you want to have in, now let's say you're going to the park, or let's say you're just going to the pool day, you want to have like a pool bag with your swimsuit and sunscreen and all that, and anything else, maybe like a change of clothes that you might need if your bags don't arrive back to the resort, or if you can't get into the resort right away. So you're going to want to keep those like items with you, and also anything you don't want to get stolen. Now, I have to say that I have successfully went on several trips with my laptop packed with them, and have, knock on wood, have had no issues thus far. So we've left my daughter's tablet in those bags, and everything has been completely safe. But it's up to your own discretion. Obviously, like, use your best judgment of what you feel safe with for you and your family. And then obviously utilize Bell services, because it is a free service, and they will take all of your luggage with you. And you know, obviously you could give them a tip when you collect the luggage if they bring it up to your room when you get to the next resort, but that's definitely the best method I use. And then the last thing I would say is definitely don't get overconfident and try to schedule more than 2, because it can get exhausting, especially if you don't do Disney very often or you've never done it at all. This might not be for you. So I would definitely, especially for your first split stay, to maybe minimize it and just do like 2. Unless, maybe the one thing that I would maybe do 3 is if you're coming in late, maybe one of those days, and you just want like a cheap hotel for the first night, and then you move on over to the second one, and then let's say you're there for 3 or 4 days, then maybe it won't be that bad. But generally I would just stick it to stick to 2 resorts. So is a Disney resort worth it? In my opinion, yes. I love doing this. It allows me to see all the different resorts, capture the magic of all the resorts. I know some of the resorts don't seem so Disney-esque compared to like a value resort, like Art of Animation, where it just looks like, hi, I'm immersed in Disney. Whereas you go to the Contemporary and it's a little more like subdued, and you don't necessarily scream, it doesn't scream hi Disney all the time, but you know, you're definitely getting your perks of the dining, even extra magic hours. When you're at the deluxe hotel, they usually will give you extra time in the parks in the evening. There's just a lot of great advantages of doing a split stay. Now, this is not for everybody, but it is for me. And if your family's used to this, my daughter, she's a Disney pro, and she knows like, okay, now we got to pack up. We're going to, where are we going next? We're going to the next resort. And we definitely take advantage of this. And it's a great way to save money, but still have like an enjoyable vacation. So I'd love to know, have you ever done a Disney split stay before? If you have, let me know in the comments. And if you found this video useful, go ahead and give this video a like. It really does help to support the channel. Ring the bell so you'll be notified for all future content. If we're not already friends, go ahead, stick around, join our little internet fam, and we'll see you in the next one or at Disney. Thanks for watching. Bye.